Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm back with another message for you. As promised, this is message number 2 on Tuesday, November 26th, 2024. Now, I posted my first message, or at least I thought I did, hours ago. It was much earlier in the daytime, but when I went to do this video, I realized that it was still uploading in kind of like a stuck spot, so I had to delete it and upload it again. So more than likely you're going to see these back to back, posted back to back anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter, but I thought I'd share. Just so you know, I didn't forget you. I as I said in the first video, just had a long day, busy day yesterday, and I just was too tired to bring premium energy to this space, so I thought it was best to just chill out. Sometimes you need to take those breathers, you know, no matter what you do, but especially when you do something like this, because you don't want to give half-ass energy. You want to try to be as energized and alert as you possibly can be, so you don't misread messages or you know, miss the mark in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you could do that anyway, obviously, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but certainly when you're tired, it could have an effect on the message. But anyway, happy Tuesday again. If you haven't seen the other video and this is your first one, I hope you're doing well and you're having a great week, getting ready for the holiday, however you celebrate. Best wishes to you and your family and friends and all that you're planning to do, indeed. All right, so let's see what we got. Two of Cups, okay? I saw that distinctly when I was shuffling. It really stuck out to me today, so that's interesting. This is an agreement, a contract, could be friendship, could be intimate, romantic. It's just two people or two things that are on the same page. They have, they share mutual feelings. You know, there's fairness and balance on both sides of these offerings, and an equal reception of whatever is being offered. In this case, of course, with the cups, is usually centered around love or something of an emotional essence. Something, yeah, for the most part, that's the most of it. But, you know, we could be talking about contracts, which, you know, may not hold a depth of emotion, but there could be a great invested interest in upholding a commitment, whatever, even if that's professional. Like, it's something that really draws passion and sincerity and devotion into it. So I don't know if this is a thing. Oh, well, very much a thing. The Two of Cups to the Ten of Cups. That's like 5 times growth right there. Big changes underway. And of course, I always try to keep it practical and open, because maybe it's not love, maybe it's friendship, maybe it's, you know, all the other things but love. But sometimes the Two of Cups is just what the Two of Cups is. Two people that are interested in one another and maybe even invested in one another in an emotional sense. and they want to build and grow that investment together. And here it is with the Ten of Cups. Oh my gosh, the Four of Wands. Happy home, happy life, happy husband, happy wife, happy kids, and no strife. That's all I got. Oh man. And that's enough, wouldn't you say? Absolutely. The Four of Wands this is like taking that commitment to it's just going to accelerated levels, new heights, advancing, expanding, becoming deeper, higher, grander, more passionate with the Four of Wands. This is two people that have been I hear like holding a candle for love. I know these are cups, but it's like two people that have been like holding hope, keeping hope alive for love, even when they may not have necessarily had any evidence to maintain that hope or any encouragement or security in that hopefulness. And it's like keeping that cup open, keeping your heart open, keeping your mind open, keeping your outlook positive, working on yourself, giving to yourself when there is no exchange, no partner outside of yourself to exchange with. That's the energy here with the Two of Cups. And then one day, out of the blue, you stumble upon, perhaps even in a serendipitous moment, you stumble upon someone that is just as emotionally available as you are. And, somebody, which is so rare, wouldn't you say? Usually, especially in the more karmic experience of life before now, maybe this is the threshold we're all crossing into or having more access to, or is just more accessible in general. But usually you may have two people that cross paths, and one cup may be half full, the other cup may be half empty, literally depending on each perspective of love, their outlook, their past experience, their fears. Very psychological here is what I'm getting with the Two of Cups. And it just speaks to there being some great healing that must have taken place before the Two of Cups that would signify a readiness and an availability to requite love in a pure and very fulfilling way. It's like the Ten of Cups leaves nothing really to be desired. And how fantastic of an ideal that we often don't allow ourselves to believe can actually be real, that can actually manifest and be something that you want it to be, that you need it to be, and something that also has longevity. And this is signifying all of that it's emotionally fulfilling, it's passionate, it's a victory and a success, again, perhaps after a great deal of trial and tribulation, or maybe just trial and error. And, all parties are feeling I don't even feel like satisfied is enough of a word to say here. Sensational, really. Like it's almost too good to be true, but in fact it is. So we got this Knight of Swords here. And yeah, with the Seven of Pentacles, I just don't even feel compelled. Exactly. I don't feel compelled to put this on the board because, yeah, I feel like it's, first of all, Five of Swords came up in the energy earlier. But I feel like it's just this energy of someone that that may not be so pleased with the harvest that they sowed into. And I mean, what else is new? These are the breaks, right? So it's like not even really worth going into, but there is definitely this movement here at the Knight of Swords of someone that at least has an intention to advance, to make an advancement against something. And at the Five of Swords, we all know that there's usually not something friendly or peaceful or fair. Maybe this could even be communication, words that are being thrown around, stories, narratives. I hear excuses though. Like somebody's all full of, hell of excuses and narratives as to woe is them, like woe is me type of energy, or how, I don't know, I feel that energy here, how it should be them. They should feel entitled to something, whatever this crop is that they're idolizing, that in some other season they probably thought they had all access to, at least a privileged access over some other people that looks like they think they defeated, right? But when it all comes down to the center of this Seven of Pentacles is hit or miss. Either you're quite pleased and satisfied with the fruits of your labor, or you are disappointed. But either way, the only choice there is to move forward. So the fact that both of these energies are moving this way, which to me signifies more of a backward motion or regression, says even more so that somebody has regrets or is unsatisfied or displeased with something. And really it's more objectifying the results and rewards of their expectations more than it seems to be like themselves, like, exactly. I'm going too deep into this, but here's the Strength card here. Yeah, I don't know. It may just be the disparity of folks that, it's kind of like everybody's opening their Christmas gifts, and you've been waiting all year long, maybe all season long, all decade long, maybe all lifetime long, to see what's in your box. And then you finally rip it open and it's like socks. Now, it might not necessarily be what you want, but it probably is what is needed. You know what I mean? And that's the energy here. It's like somebody's looking at their present, maybe even their own presence personally, and they're like, this is it? this is all I got for my time, my energy, my effort, my attention, my dedication, my ferocity, my determination, my diligence, waiting patiently all year long, all lifetime long for what I thought was going to be, a Christmas spectacular, and all I get is socks. So it just could be, but what it comes down to, and this is why it's key of what I said, it's like somebody's objectifying the result, but not really, how can I say it? Not really, taking inventory of the process, or themselves really is what it comes down to, but themselves within the process that would have yielded this result. It's like somebody feels like for all that they invested, they should be worth more, that it should be whatever, it should be worth more than that. But alas, it does not seem that it is so, and it's like considering two different ideals of strength here, where someone felt like their determination was the power, and in this case, with these cups and wand energies, it was their patience that was the power. Yeah. Persistence, I should say. Persistence was the power. And here it was, and there still is, even still can flip-flop either way, because someone had to be patient to wait to see what would yield. But they also, with the Knight of Swords, there's this anxiety, and eagerness behind that energy. And sometimes it can get ahead of itself, even ahead of what's natural in the natural order of creativity here. And that's how you can ultimately ruin something, for yourself, in the way that it would have evolved naturally, because you veered out of alignment with the natural order. So there's still a level of patience, but there's more persistence here. And there's even some persistence that would need to happen in this energy, where no matter what your unfavorable experience may have been, or again, your lack of inspiration at times, or any hope in sight, in many ways, you still would have needed to keep going, persistent in your believing. But the patience to know when to also be still is what would have been key here. Not, for instance, in a potential partnership, as I said, sometimes you meet somebody and there's a connection, but maybe not necessarily a synergy, where both people are in the same place at the same time. Sometimes you can be tempted to override that sign and synchronicity and force it to be something that, ultimately you really desire to have, before it's time to have it, if it ever even is, So there's a certain reservation that has to be made when you see that there's an imbalance, whether it be within yourself, in the connection, or in someone else, to trust that it would be better to hold space for the ideal, the best ideal of that experience, to prove itself, or to unfold, or evolve, even if it is in someone else, in something else, with someone else, in some other place. than it would be to kind of settle for less than the whole 10, and the balance of the 4, just to have it right away. So that's like the difference between these energies. It's still, again, a great exhibition of strength, but it all comes down to what you're sowing that strength into, So, like, what are you persistent for and patient for? Is it productive? Is it prosperous? Not just does it have potential, but is there a presence about it that is affirmative, of its readiness, again, to be balanced, equal, on the same page in a now moment. Not a lot of people are willing to wait for that no guarantee, no zero guaranteed future. Some people feel more safe and at ease with either settling or controlling the circumstances to more or less have it be what they want on command, or at the time of, the demand of their desires. And sometimes I'm saying something right, and sometimes that doesn't really work out too well. On the flip side, with all of those other cards, it literally could be someone, ignoring all the signs, or just forging past all the signs of perhaps a dysfunctional connection, or an unsavory one, 5 of Swords, you know what I mean, to the 7 of Pentacles. There's a lack of satisfaction there, maybe even a lack of growth. And whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a human partnership. It could even be a job. It could even be a decision that was made, whatever it is. But in terms of relationship, because that's where we started, right? It's really given that people are really looking up now at who perhaps they're sitting across from, sitting next to, sleeping with, hanging out with, and being gravely disappointed with the time that they've already invested in connections, and maybe even feeling like some time has been wasted and lost as the horns are blaring in the background. And that's unfortunate. That's a real sucky place to be. But the Fool card is a new beginning for all. Like I said, this is what is absolutely available, if you're willing to, again, believe for it, persist, and also be patient to receive. But it definitely provokes a new pathway, or initiation onto a new pathway. It's certainly, whatever that little spread was, with the 5 of Swords and the 7 of Pentacles and so on and so forth, like, that wouldn't be the way, like trying to manhandle, kind of make a puzzle piece fit into it, or I guess the best way to say it is make a square fit into a circle, a square peg fit into a circle. Some things are just not meant to be, or were only meant to be to make a point, to teach a lesson, to draw a comparison, a contrast, so that you ultimately know what it is that you truly do desire to have and how to go about it and how to be a match for it, whatever we're talking about here, but particularly in love. As I've said before, like, you can't even really know who you are and what you desire until you've had some hits and some misses. So it just comes with the territory, you know, but it's really about like reading those signs and synchronicities and shaving the learning curve for yourself to not be in a position of rerunning an unfavorable experience over and over again, which a lot of people realize now they did. You know, they kept choosing the same guy, the same girl, or giving someone a chance over and over, no matter how many disappointments or a lack of fulfillment was there, or a lack of connection, understanding, synergy. And now it's just like, what was it all worth? Because either way, like I said, everybody's getting a new beginning, but how you're walking into that new beginning, well, that's very unique, you know. That certainly is not a cookie cutter experience, not even for the happily ever after ideal, because everybody's happy ending is different. And some may have actually experienced some semblance of a so-called happy ending in past seasons, but realized that it wasn't sustainable. It really wasn't so fulfilling. You know, the substance wasn't there. Especially with the Seven of Pentacles, that's about longevity. So talking about partnerships, you could have tried to force a situation to work in your favor for years before you realized that this was never going to work. We were never compatible. We were never on the same page, like always at odds, Five of Swords, fighting, destructive, disturbing, you know, disturbed partnership, or one that's heavily, I would say, chronically competitive. You know, it's like there's definitely no prosperity in competition with folks that you're supposed to share an intimate connection with. Friendship, relationship, family, any of it. Yeah. And here's the High Priestess. Something sacred about these revelations of love that are crystallizing now. Good, bad, and indifferent. No matter what your experience is, one thing for sure is it's very revealing, very telling, very honest. Like you couldn't delude yourself from the truth by calling it mysterious anymore at this point. It's like everything is on the table, out in the open, just as sure as that Seven of Pentacles. It's like, this is what you got. This is what you manifested. This is what you've been growing all this time. This is what you've been investing in. You know, like I said, like the Christmas gift, maybe for some, that's been opened early or received early. We ain't even get through Thanksgiving yet. And here's the mystery right here. It's clearing all that up. The Seven of Cups, so that there is, again, a route of progression that is opened up, that is available. A passageway is what I'm trying to say. A passageway beyond the illusion. Now, everybody still isn't going to be comfortable to take that passageway because, again, there's no guarantee. Sometimes there seems to be no map. There's no, that sometimes, especially in this season, you might feel like you have no guide. You just like rowing around in a dark abyss sometimes. So it feels, especially when it comes to emotions. Some people may not know how to feel right now about life. It may be a bit surreal that what they've been holding on to as sacred for however long is proving itself to be an illusion or a figment of their own delusion, or just not so. What's the opposite of sacred? What is the opposite of sacred? Sacred and disgraceful? That adds another layer of something. Maybe not disgraceful. What's that word? I've used this word before. Sacred, desecrated, maybe, which kind of is the same thing. It's not special. It's not precious. It's not righteous, even if we really want to get into it. It's just, it may even be an abomination in some ways to what to someone's purest desires, without interference, without intrusion, or projection, like just what someone in their heart of hearts really wanted or would have wanted to get out of their efforts or get out of their, out of the deal. And it's like, damn, whole time I've been thinking that I was on my way to something. I was on to something. It was, in my grips, in my possession, and either what they had was not that, or what they had, they never really had. I don't even know which one is worse. With this illusion card, and the High Priestess being very mysterious. It's a very mysterious card, but next to the Ace of Swords, I feel like it's more of the unveiling of mysterium than anything, which, sometimes the truth can hurt, Sometimes it can, but it also can be liberating. So hence the Six of Swords card, that now that you may have access to information or clarity, you also have an invitation to activate that and apply it, Let's see. Yeah, King of Swords, exactly. You have the power, you have the intel. Nobody knows like the King of Swords knows. That's for sure. Sometimes he knows too much, that he's a know-it-all in the lowest frequency. Let's see what's on the bottom. Yeah, but this is definitely about having access to a deeper inner knowing, or I'll say how can I say this? Being initiated at least to not pursue, I don't know what verb I want to use, but because it's very much so action oriented here. even though it's the King of Swords, but there's something to be said about this Hermit energy, which is about inner self-awareness and inner guidance and inner knowing, and kind of excavating those truths. Maybe somebody that really needs to get to know, or is getting to know themselves, and finally is realizing, seeing all things clearly, what the common denominator might be, or what the purest connection of truth may actually be. Because it feels connected to the other energy, as I was saying, like somebody that's looking at everything else but not really looking at themselves. Well, the King of Swords, especially with the Hermit, is somebody that's absolutely looking at themselves at this point. At least even if they have no other, feel they have no other choice, it's still a more holistic approach to healing and advancement than anything else, especially at, considering anything outside of self. So that's the silver lining right there, I suppose. For the most part. That to me just signifies that, like I said, like once you have the knowledge, you have the liberty to apply it as you see fit. Nobody's holding you back from doing that. You see something hasn't been successful and you finally see the truth of that. You're not deluding yourself to think that you could make it be something else, or, oh, it just needs a little of this, a little sprinkle of that. Making excuses and concessions for things that just are not aligned with who you are. Once there's an admittance of that, you can then submit yourself to the process of whatever that Six of Swords is, and the moving on and moving forward that would help to cross over someone that might be, otherwise mental unrest, or at least I don't know, yeah, I guess unrest is the word. Next to the High Priestess, it's like, yeah, you gonna, wow, it came back out, no way. And now here's the action that gets to be taken. As I said, it's very action oriented. I can feel it. So for some, that might mean, literally setting yourself apart, separating from whatever the identifiable conflict may be, or dare I say problem may be. Even within your own self, separating yourself from thought patterns, behaviors, habits, perversions, like all types of stuff. That list could go on and on. But once you identify the root, then you hold the power, just like the King of Wands, for creativity, of which you can choose to be creative, or you can choose to be more destructive. It literally can go either way, because you could either stay stuck in what you observe and recognize is unhealthy or dissatisfying, unfulfilling. You can continue to spiral down even, deeper into an abyss below that, I suppose. And that's when addictions and abusive behaviors come into play. Or you can decide to pack it up and head on out. Like, again, that could be in a relationship, in a friend dynamic, at a job, in a position, in an organization, in an association. Tough choices to make at times, but sometimes within family itself with the 10 of Cups. Whatever it is, the power is yours, and the accountability, the responsibility, I guess I should say, is on you as well to take accountability for not only your creativity within the present experience, but also in the power that you willed to make a change. I said big changes were underway. And I feel like with the burst of expression of just like unions and partnerships that of the likes that haven't really been displayed before. Like we've seen the celebrity couple archetype, the power couple, so to speak, but it's something to be said. These are not coins. This isn't the 10 of Pentacles, even though, there's an implication of prosperity here for sure. But this is just about pure love and passion, and commitment. That's not something that's on a pedestal, really, unless it's something more fantastical, like in the movies to aspire to. But as I said, not really having much evidence in your personal experiences that it's attainable, or even in your life, as a witness to. But I feel like that's shifting, and there is a flood, perhaps, dare I say, with these cups of love that's coming through that is going to be undeniable. And even though some may have positioned themselves to be against it, they've valued more material satisfaction over emotional and spiritual. It's going to make such an impression and an impact, even at a distance, as like from the outside looking in as a spectator, that you wouldn't be able to help but desire it for yourself. It's like, well, damn. It's something about actually perhaps even being able to feel it too at a distance, like it being very, like I said earlier, sensational. Like it literally having an like a, how can I say, like expelling of like a vibrational current. Yeah, literally current with the water. And the wands, something about the love vibration literally projecting a current that like you won't be able to help but to feel. And again, it could either make you, and that sensation be so real that now you have the evidence to know, like, oh, well, this is definitely a thing. This is not just a figment of folly and imagination. Like, this is something that can actually be, and if it can be, then it can be for me. So that's where the self-awareness and that initiation of the hermit's journey comes into play, to actually go within to consider, as I said with the Two of Cups, where you get to cultivate that frequency within yourself. Maybe perhaps in considering where you have invested unsuccessfully up until now, and shifting that perspective, that initiative, that action to yield a more desirable outcome. And as I said, some people are going to, it's almost going to be like you can't help but be inspired and do something, to shift your fate or to shift your real-time experience. But some people may still repel it, and feel like, it's just too much, too sensational, and also too, for some too good to be true to believe it could be personally achieved. And then considering the outlook of what it would take to be that achievement, some people just ain't gonna be down for all that, but some absolutely are. And all it takes is for people to just like I said in the very beginning, like not really having a lot of a hopeful outlook, but somehow still having a faithful one, to do the best that you can for yourself, by yourself, and holding space for what you still, desire to experience. Just pure and simple. Unfortunately, some people haven't had the liberty of that level of hope, faith, and love, most simplistically. Yeah, but like I said, some people will be inspired to get to work. If that means to go ahead and, take that dark night of the soul journey and figure out what's going on in that subconscious and get to the root of your transgressions, or your I don't know, so many things I could say about that, but whatever the work looks like is such a raw term now that could mean so many different things. And I guess that kind of is the point, that nobody can really dictate what that is for you, how it gets to look, but you'll know when you're doing it. You'll know. There are many cues and signals to know that it's happening. And sometimes at first it's not the most comfortable, they aren't the most comfortable sensations to embody, but when you're on to something productive and when you're just faking it till you make it. You just know, like eventually you find, yourself not, you find yourself at home with yourself, not feeling like you have to answer to anyone, impress anyone, bend to anyone's criticisms or judgments. Certainly not forcing yourself to fit any mold that you don't naturally, but also considerate of the ideal of your identity, of which you still have challenge and charge to expand into. Because usually it's not so much of a contraction, I don't think. It's about broadening your horizons and your outlook and your mindset, elevating it. So yeah, all of that, but here's the work right here, and this is the work with reward. This is after the Seven of Pentacles, when it's just kind of a flow, and you like the work's almost doing itself, darn near, honestly. Most people that are maybe experiencing a certain level of bliss in this season are no less familiar to that work. Everybody gets to do it until we don't have to anymore, whenever that time comes. But everybody living in this season of time has been responsible with some level of change and transformation and healing and releasing, regenerating, all of that. And it hasn't been easy, most of it, but at this point is where, the benefits really kick in, because when you look back over your experience up until now, you wouldn't have it any other way. And I feel like that still gets to be the outlook and end result for those that may just be initiating themselves on that journey or being initiated on that path. You wouldn't have it any other way. There's nothing better than to wake up every day and feel pleased with yourself, you know, to feel like, you know, you are an honorable, honest person with, you know, strip down all the materials, all of the fortune, you know, all the bells and whistles. And when it comes down to it, to be able to say that I am a sincere, honest, and trustworthy person, that's invaluable. It's priceless. And here's the Page of Swords. Maybe the observance itself, or a message right up under the King of Swords. Maybe it's the King of Swords observing what actions they get to take in this foundational space, like where it almost again feels like you're starting at the beginning. Or you might be starting in a place where there's more information needed or yet to unfold, or to just learn along the way, you know, and that's pretty much the vibes for us all at some point in time, if not eternally. There's going to always be something new to learn in this lifetime. And exactly that, that submission that I was saying. What was I saying about like being, persistent and patient, you know, at the same time, like knowing when it's time to get up and go, get up and do, get up and learn, get up and grow, and knowing when you're good right where you are for the moment. Maybe enjoy where you are, or take note of where you are, consider, reconsider, perhaps, like, yeah. This Page of Swords is peculiar, though, because it's like he's gathering information for sure, maybe really and truly on what to do, but I just don't like the immaturity of it when the King of Swords has already shown itself. So what it's saying is that, yeah, the King of Swords, this is representing the being. So it's saying that some people may be too fixated on the doing of what it looks like to be so-called healed or evolved or even wealthy, like the facade of it all, the expression of it all, the energetic expression and the activity, you know, of it all, rather than the identity itself, you know, because the action and passion comes out of the affirmed identity most purely. That's when these energies can align to really create that advancement that would be, you know, most desirable in most cases. Otherwise, if someone's just kind of studying how to look like, you know, they got it together, or they're playing the part, or they're, you know, they know how to put on a good show, more or less, maybe even to look confident, you know, in this case, with the King of Wands, that's not really going to go very far to actually transitioning someone over to a place of peace and rest in their own skin. That's just still more cosplay, pretty much, you know. And that could even be just like mirroring other people or emulating others, or, you know, literally just being way too fixated on what other people are doing and measuring yourself by that. Like I said, everybody is on their own path, on their own journey, and the quicker there is a submission to that truth is actually the faster it can really be applied for some level of advancement and evolution that is truly fulfilling, not just temporary. And here we go with the Seven of Cups again. Yeah, something about like illusions. Oh, no, we got the Queen of Wands. Interesting. And also choices here with the Seven of Cups. Like, there seems to be so many things that a person could choose to do, you know, actively as the Queen of Wands. This is like choices coming to them, because the Queen is more the receptive energy. You know, that it can almost maybe feel overwhelming. But most of these concoctions here are not productive, are not even positive. So you can do the process of elimination just sheerly, you know, on how certain things make you feel. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, you know, when you're on to it, you know, when you're on to something, because you know how you feel. You know how you feel when you wake up in the morning, all throughout your day, when you go to sleep at night. You know how you're feeling. And if there's any confusion about how you're feeling, that's probably a pretty sure sign that something is out of alignment. One way or another, there's something that's being ingested, conceived, created, is not for the highest good. And with the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands on the board, that's definitely speaking to the creative capability and confidence to make that change, you know, as only the man in the mirror can do for himself or herself. And for those that have found their way to that courage and confidence and security, to just hold fast to it, because this can also be distractions or projections that could ultimately inflict insecurity onto that creative power, or could be positioned as an enemy or an attack against it, where you know that there are certain things that you are just masterful in at this point, that you do almost effortlessly. You know, there's a certain creativity about you that is unique and incomparable. You know, don't allow energies to arise within yourself or outside of yourself to have you question that truth for yourself. Not at this time. There needs to be virtually an unwavering confidence and security, because the thing is, even when it's not intentional, which in many cases, especially given we saw the Five of Swords twice in both readings today, even when it's not to be an aggressive offense, because we all share this consciousness grid for now, I suppose, you could easily absorb someone else's insecurities. Again, here it is, if you're finding yourself in places and spaces that are out of alignment with who you have already established yourself to be at, or have already established to be a standard of frequency for you, you know, and that's where it ties back into, again, being considerate about your connections, your commitments, your investments, your relationships, all the dynamics. Two of Cups is a perfect way to start because it's literally like two people sharing energy, like swapping fluids, so to speak, you know? And we do that without even touching one another day to day, and in some very mysterious ways, being miles and perhaps even worlds apart, so it seems. So to be, you know, extremely conscious of the force field that you are cultivating and curating is like the best that you can possibly do for yourself and for everyone. You know, when you feel like you can't do anything else for the rest of the world, like taking care of you, clearing away a lot of this confusion and illusion and delusion, is literally like doing God's work at this point in time. You know, so I guess take that as it resonates, but it may seem minor, you know, to keep your frequency high, to keep your commitments pure, to prioritize your well-being, spirit, mind, and body. But I mean, that's really all there is to creation at this point. Perhaps all there ever was, you know, especially to the responsibility of creation and humanity specifically. Everything else we've kind of like inflated to mean more than it needs to, or to amount to more than it ever was meant to. But, you know, taking care of you, honestly, honorably, goes a long, long way. And it makes more of an impact than you could ever make having the intention to go out of your way for someone else. Especially for those that aren't even well taken care of themselves, first and foremost. So, yeah. But anyway, the brightest point of all of this is that love is definitely in the air. And as much as I try to, I guess, trivialize it at times, you know, for practicality's sake, it really can't be glazed over or ignored, you know, any more than it can from within you. And certainly if you have become attractive to something so precious and special, you won't miss it, you won't overlook it, and it certainly won't overlook you. You know, if that's what you're in the market for and that's what you are investing in, it's inevitable. You know, but the key, of course, is to definitely be intentional about it. Otherwise, you could spin the block 1,000,000 times around the globe and still wake up unfulfilled every day because you have failed to fulfill yourself. And that is sad. That is sad. So no sad stories, all happy endings, you know, in this new world order. If you can help it, you certainly have the support to have it, you know. So God bless and Godspeed on your endeavors, or in your endeavors. All right, yeah, so that's it. I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.